Welcome to Real Talk, Real Advice, Real Difference. I'm your host, Nathan Najib. And in this podcast, we bring you conversations from the leading experts with experience, stories, and advice to help you become a better agent and impact this industry and the community for the better. Jowett. Geoff is known as one of the most innovative wellness entrepreneurs Australia ever produced. A true visionary, he co-founded personal training studios and created a hugely successful body trim. Geoff has helped hundreds of thousands of Aussies lose weight and get fit. Geoff is very well known in the Australian real estate community for being a pioneer in the weight loss and fitness. He's a mind coach to some of the best real estate agents in the world. He had it all: money, fame, popularity, and success. But he says at that point he was empty and lost, and his passion was gone. He forgot what he started and lost his purpose. He became an alcoholic and lost everything in the pursuit of what he calls now the disease of wanting more. His mission today is to bring others out of dark and into the light, the byproduct of the weight loss, happiness, and health. Please help me welcome our guest today to Real Talk, Real Advice, and Real Difference, Geoff Jowett. First of all, I want to say thank you for your time. I appreciate you. As I told you before off camera, I heard you once and I said, this is the kind of guy I want to get to know because he is actual practitioner, a guy who has been through it all. And what is better to model somebody who has done it and can teach people from experience. And I've seen that come across in your videos that I've watched, and you were doing a webinar for a friend of mine in Sydney, so I watched that too. Now, in New Zealand, we are here on lockdown. In real estate sales, we can't do anything. What do you suggest in that time that while we're on lockdown, what do agents, what should they concentrate on doing for the next 4, maybe 6 weeks?
Well, firstly, nice to be here, and thanks for the kind words. I appreciate that. Hello to everybody watching live or the replay at a later date. So are you guys able to do stuff online? So virtual opens and whatnot? Is that what you're doing?
We can do virtual things like we can't do inspections. We can't leave our homes to do inspections.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so it's the next. Yeah. Okay, right. Gotcha. Yeah. So in Australia, okay, it's a little bit different. Yeah. So look, the reality of it is, Buddhism talked about this thousands of years ago. It's acceptance, and what we do is we get attached. So again, Buddhism talks about non-attachment. So right now you're in lockdown. So that is reality. So we can either resist that and be in massive pain and suffering, or we can accept it. And this COVID-19 pandemic, look, everybody is affected.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very few are infected.
Uh-huh.
Commercially, financially affected, medically, not that many are infected. So we can fight it or we can accept it and make good. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the pain and suffering comes because people don't accept it and make good. And that is a rule forever, not just now. Like, it's about accepting what is and making good of where we are. So if we're at home, option A, we can sit at home and get depressed and commiserate what was, which does not serve us.
Uh-huh.
One of the key questions to ask yourself is, does my behavior, emotion, and actions now, do they serve me,
Mm-hmm.
or do they serve against me? And for a lot of people, they serve against them. And as we talked about off air, old world, new world.
Mm-hmm.
90% of my business consulting advising is with real estate principals, businesses, salespeople. And one of the biggest things I taught them over here a month ago is old world, new world. So a lot of people had 10 listings in the old world, and then in the new world, they had none. So as soon as this happened, that was obvious to me. But what a lot of people do is they get depressed because they had 10 and now they got none. But of course you were going to have that. Or you might have had 10, now you got one. But because people can't accept what is now. Mm-hmm. So if a joint was worth $1 million and now it's worth 800 or whatever, the vendor is going to wrestle with that. So you got to let them wrestle. Give them time. Give them time. Let it be. The Beatles song. You know, there's a saying: the more you can't lead what you need. You can't lead what you need, and the problem is if people really need the one or two things they can't lead that. So you got to let things breathe. You can't smother them. And if you're at home now and what was a month or two ago, let it go. That was then, this is now. It's our ability, accept, adapt, pivot. Accept, adapt, pivot. So if you're stuck at home, you know, realistically, devil's advocate, there's probably a whole heap of shit you could do at home that you probably never got round to doing. Like, this is reality. What could I do at home? I could vacuum the floor. I could do a whole heap of stuff, get the books up to date, time with the family. There's a million things we could do now, but because they're not the things we want to do, we don't do them. So we do nothing. Mm-hmm. That's what a lot of, like, just because you don't want to do that and it's not your number one priority, well, this is where we are. This is a lesson in acceptance, what I call best practice living. People have an opportunity today to learn valuable lessons, to carry forward. Mm-hmm. And one of those biggest lessons is that, and I believe the stress and fear of COVID, because very few are infected, mm-hmm. the stress and the fear is because no one had financial buffer. Right. So the shit hit the fan and everyone's like, oh God, what am I going to do? Well, you know, if you didn't buy the new car and the bigger house, then you might have more financial buffer. So we've got to understand the difference between a want and a need. Very different. Sure. Wants versus needs. And to be really successful in business, like decade upon decade, you've got to understand wants versus needs. You've got to have long-term vision, delayed gratification, power of compounding. You don't just make it and spend it. Sure. That is very unsophisticated. You've got to play the long game.
It's something you should have done that in the past. Now it's too late to save, perhaps, right? Now what you can do now is what you talk about always, to control the controllables.
Yes, but also what you can do, look, in Australia, I'm not exactly sure what they're doing in New Zealand, but for people that are experiencing financial hardship, the reality is everybody is. Right. So if ever there was a time to have financial hardship, it's now, because in Australia, for example, there's more safety nets and bailouts than I've had lamb roasts. Like there's this and this and this and this and this. Like no one's going to get booted. Like on
same as here.
Yeah, right. So it's not actual having made a lot of money and gone broke, bankrupt, broke properly. This is not the same. There's been a health event globally and everybody's affected. This is not I'm the only one and life's over. Like the wheels have got to keep turning. So what people see as the end is not the end. And for many, it'll be the beginning if they can reset and change the lens on how they look at these things. Because right now, there is support from banks, there is support from landlords. There's all this sort of initiatives and Job Start and all this different stuff. And yes, it wasn't aligned with a person's plan, but our plan is not always the plan. The problem is is when that happens and our plan's not the plan and we can't accept that. But until you accept that, you're going to have a very painful life, because we live in an infinite universe expanding every second. How the hell is our little plan in our little brain going to, in a very linear, concrete way? Do we really think that that's going to happen all the time? No, we've got to be fluid. Sometimes life throws a curveball. We've got to be able to accept, adapt, pivot, accept, adapt, pivot. Now, you might have had big plans to go overseas. Well, whoop-de-doo. Like, there's a box of tissues, do something else. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, if you live in like New Zealand, South Island, one of the most beautiful parts of the world, go and explore that when the lockouts lift. Like, this ain't the end, people. It's just that we are conditioned by a society that believes it is. Like sports people, this was like funny in Australia to me. It was so bad, it was funny. Like, there was a debate, should professional rugby league players take a pay cut? No shit, Sherlock. Like, of course they should take a pay cut. Like, how are we debating this? Like, this is like a wartime crisis against the virus. Pretty sure you don't need to be on 1.5 million a year to kick a football if you're not kicking the football. Like, the joint's gone mad. It's just going to need a reset button. So we've lived in such good times for so long that when something happens that's not blue skies and rainbows, people don't know how to adapt.
What's better to reset than this coronavirus that was sent to us? It's here for a reason. Now, what's better? Because I think it's brought people together. It's brought the community together. It's actually taught us, like you said, there's no way you can go broke. You may have been eating so much. Maybe you need to cut that back a little bit, right? But you will not go broke with all the help that's happening now. Geoff, tell me, like, you said new word and old word. What would you do as agent? Like, would you be like, I've heard you say this, pick up the phone, just check on people, be a genuine person, and just give them a hand if they need it. And what would you do that? Tell me. I mean, obviously that's the right thing to do, but what would you do with that? What is?
Well, this is where I see huge opportunity in real estate. And I've had a lot of businesses across a lot of industries, and I've never seen a business model as beautifully simple as real estate. But it's so simple, people miss it. They overcomplicate it. Right. So this is the magic. Like, in real estate, you don't have import, export, raw materials, supply chain logistics, retail distribution, channel strategy, none of it. You're just building relationships with local people and getting a clip of the ticket on the way through. Like, it is the best business model I've ever seen. And the better you get, the better your business gets. There are no other variables. And a bad market for a vendor is not a bad market for a real estate agent, because you don't own the asset. You're there to facilitate the trade. You don't own the trade. Right. So it's very different. So right now is a line in the sand reset where people can actually go back to everyone, A to Z, on their database with voice memos or text messages or emails. Like, don't call everyone like a pest. Don't be a pest, because if people are in a time of distress and the real estate agent rings up and they haven't heard from you for 2 years, and they go, "Oh, mate, do you want to sell your joint?" That's offensive. Like, when my mum died back in 2002, I didn't want to answer everyone's phone call. I was in a time of distress. Text messages, voice memos are good in a time of distress. You don't ring people up, "Oh, I haven't spoken to you for a while, mate. How are you going?" Well, shit, I'm shit. What do you want? Is going to be the reply. And so it should be. You haven't called them for 2 years and now you're hungry, desperate for a listing, so you call them to get a listing when they're in pain. That's shit. We've got to be better than that. So when people are in a time of distress through the death of a loved one, or the property market, the economy, COVID, lockouts, you've got to be more sophisticated. And what would you appreciate? Softer touch, longer game, checking in. You can do voice. There's so much technology available these days, email, text, but I make it, it's the sum of all parts. See, back in 1980, there was no internet or text, so it was always the home phone. But now there's a lot of other things we can use to be top of mind, not a pest. Right. See, one of my big strategies is what I call permission to sell. You can't just sell. You can't just call every man and his dog, boom, boom, boom. That's not, you've got to earn trust, have the touch points, and then people start coming back to you going, oh, look, thanks for checking in, mate. I appreciate it. By the way, actually, there is something. What do you reckon about this? Bang. They're coming back to you. Game changer, posture changes, dynamic changes. Everything changes in that adjustment. And then they might ask you about the market or the this or the that. And then your priority is always their goal, not yours. Must always be. You can't do that if you got no dough. You've been living a bit beyond your means, buying the flash car that you thought you needed to get the listing, which you don't. People don't care what you have. They care about the value you bring them and how you make them feel.
They care how much you care about them genuinely, right?
Yes.
And we'll come back to buying things that you don't need to buy to impress people that you don't like, for sure. And I've also heard you say, be service focused and add value to people.
Service, not status. Service, not status. Like I call it status anxiety. So everybody was living beyond their means through status anxiety, keeping up with the Joneses. That's a saying in Australia. We've got keeping up with the Joneses.
Oh, we got that too.
Right. So I say, did Corona, did Rona cause the crisis, or did the Joneses? Because really what happened was we were all keeping up with the Joneses. They bought an Audi, so we needed one. Bigger house, we needed one. Overseas holiday, we needed one. No financial buffer, living on a knife's edge. Status anxiety. No one cares. No one cares the car you drive, the watch you wear. They care about the value you add into their life, into their business, and how you make them feel. Service, not status. No one cares. Believe me, I've had all the flash cars, had all that. Many times over, no one cares.
We come back. I'd love to get your thoughts on that for sure. Now, before we move on, you're saying that now it's an opportunity for us to reset and refocus. How do you mean by that? If you would elaborate on that, please.
So right now, old school real estate tactics will not work. So you don't have a choice. In a strong market, you can just ring people. They haven't heard from you for years, but hey, they probably want to cash in as well. So away you go. Right now, it's not going to work. It'll go down like a lead balloon. It will not work. So you have to change. You are forced to change now, and you do it the right way. And the right way is focusing on others, right? So right now, A to Z on your database, if you just send people a text message, words to the effect of, hey, Geoff Jowett here. Look, just wanted to check in. Hope you're doing well. Thinking of you through this time. If I can help in any way, let me know. I didn't call you because I don't want to bother you in a challenging time. Now, I've had people do things like this, and then they follow up again with a voice memo, and then they get on and do a call. People have got 2,000 people in their database. They get 1,000 replies, 1,000, 50%. Can you believe it? Because it's non-intrusive. You're not being opportunistic chasing ambulances. You just, hey, I'm here if you need me. No market updates. No, look, just letting you know we sold 2 beds, 1 bath, level 17 south facing. No one cares. They didn't ask for that.
Yeah. It's the having a marathon mindset rather than a sprint, right?
Correct. And the thing is, but you can't have a marathon mindset if you're living beyond your means, because you're dead set panicking I can't pay the bills. Well, that's not COVID. That's that you live beyond your means.
Sure.
We've got to go back a couple. Like, this is a problem. This has exposed the bigger issues. That's really what's happened here. It's exposed bigger issues that needed to be exposed. If you don't have 3 months financial buffer all the time, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I can't afford to live. Well, you can. You just need a smaller joint and a smaller car. You can.
Right.
You got to be smart here. So 3 months financial buffer is a must, not a may, but no. You got to do that. And if stuff happens, you're in a good position, because you can't come from a service position if you can't pay the bills, because you're going to be in fear. You're going to be scared.
Especially in a business like ours, it's commission based. If you make a sale, you get fed. You feed your family. If not, then you've got to do whatever you've got to do to make a sale. God forbid. But coming back to your, living beyond your means, who is better to talk about things like that than yourself? Because I've seen in my life, it's like, I look at somebody, like if I see an elderly holding hand, they're still in love, I like to sit down and have a chat with him and say, hey, what is the secret?
Yes.
The problem that we have, in my opinion, we model the wrong people.
Correct. Thank you.
Like you said, we trying to keep up with the Joneses, perhaps, or maybe this real estate agent has got flash car, so I'm going to buy a flash car because that's what he drives. I want to drive that too. But living beyond your means is, if I can get you, Geoff, please, if I can get you to speak about achievement, success in other people's eyes versus fulfillment, would you? Can you just talk in that little?
Yeah, absolutely. So, firstly, let me tell you, if off the back of this, you might get a smaller car or whatever it is, and people go, oh, mate, you changed your car. And you say to them, yeah, I did. Look, obviously, COVID was a bit tough, so I knew I'm going to be smart. I've downsized a bit. The respect goes up, not down, because you're probably doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
Everyone's living in a bloody fantasy land on credit and bullshit. If you do what others need to do but are too scared to do out of insecurity, fear, ego, the respect goes up, not down. And they're like, I wish I could do that. Bloody hell, I need to do that. The things that we think impress don't. So that alone is a big thing. You've just got, and with achievement and success, like, good example, when I was making, say, $3 million a year myself, I had less personal savings than I do now. Like, mate, if you don't get on top of this, because what we're doing is we're trying to fill an internal void with stuff. That's what we're trying to do. We don't feel enough. We don't feel successful, right? But here's the thing: success is not a number, because you think if I made 7 figures, then I'd feel successful. Bullshit. If you wrote 7, you'd want to write 8. If you did this, no. Success is a feeling. It's not a number, and we get that feeling through alignment to our values and contribution, not accumulation. If we compromise our values just to accumulate more, we never feel successful. We get that feeling when we know that we are genuinely adding value to other people. Now, in real estate, the best thing people can do, you get a commission on the sale, but pretend that's coming from somewhere else. You want to give unbiased advice. Yeah. You want to give unbiased advice based on your knowledge. Ask better questions. So someone might come to you and say, look, what do you reckon I should do? You don't just go, do this. You ask questions. Questions are the answers. So, look, the first thing we should do is have a look at have a think about your financial position. Don't tell me. You don't have to tell me, but I want you to think about that. So if nothing changes in 6 to 12 months and we don't do anything now, are you good? If not, we need to look at that. We need to get a better understanding of where you'll be in 12 months' time, how much runway you've got in 12 months' time, what that looks like, and then we can make the best decision now for you. Never me, you. They go, okay, that's great. Wow. No one does that. They're just like, we've got to sell now. Yeah, now's the time. Don't miss out. Like, rubbish. People have been around the block. They don't want that. And the other one at the moment, which is really common, you're going to get agents, really inflated valuations, right?
They do.
All
That's
over
so common. That's so common. It happens all the time in our industry, especially here.
All the time. So what you do, and I had a couple of guys this morning in an office that I'm in a lot, and they did this based on stuff we were talking about, and someone's come up with some bullshit figure of 4 million. It's worth like about 3 at the moment. It's madness, right? But anyway, so my client's gone, look, mate, I'm going to be honest, it's nowhere near that, and it probably wasn't worth that before. I'm not going to go down that road, because here's what happens. I want you as a client for 10 years. If I come in with some bullshit valuation, you're going to get pissed off, and we're both going to waste a lot of time because we're not going to get it done. I'm not going to just get the paintbrush out and paint blue. This is where we're at now.
Sure.
You've got to get clear. Yeah, you've got to get clear on what you need right now. Do you have to sell? Do you need to sell? Where are you at? What does it look like? This is the commercial realities. This is what these things are selling for at the moment in the current market this week, today. Bang. Yeah. I just won't. And you say, look, it's about integrity for me. This is what I know. Now, if we get better than that, how good's life? I'm happy. But I'm not going to come in with some bullshit figure and waste everybody's time. I don't get paid unless you do, like at the end of the day. So this is how this works. Don't engage. Be better than that. Now, if they've had 6 people come through, or not come through right now, obviously, but down the track or on whatever, but had conversations and they're all pie in the sky, and you just call bullshit. And this is what I did with other brands I've had, not in real estate, but other industries. If you call bullshit, people respect you more.
Yeah.
Because like dogs smell fear, people smell bullshit. Yeah. That's it. If you call it out.
Now more than ever, right? Because everything information is so readily available for people to look at. They know what their home is worth, but they just want to get you what you think and what your plan is. So coming back to genuine, actual truth advice is where it's at. And coming back to fulfillment and achievement, like it happens all the time to us. Like we think about, we're gonna, once we make X amount or once we buy this car, then we'll be happy. And then what happens? 6 weeks later, that car is no more good enough. We want to upgrade again, right?
Yep.
And it's just so common. Now with fulfillment, like what would be the things that would, you touched on growth and contribution, because that's what really, like the 6 human needs, those are the 2 that really, really help people be fulfilled. As long as you're progressing, you're growing, and you contributing, giving back to the community, helping people do better in their lives, you'll be fulfilled. What makes you, Geoff, I'm curious, what makes you fulfilled today? Because I see your videos, I watch them, and you just look so happy. You just seem so fulfilled.
So look, for me, it's absolutely polar opposite to everything I used to do. So back in the day, in my 20s and 30s, I would engineer and manufacture brands based on what I thought the marketplace needed. My own personal brand, products, services, companies, all of that stuff. When I hit rock bottom, bang, lost everything, that was out the window. And I got to a stage where I went, you know what, my way doesn't work because I can't be that unlucky. You know, I fucked it up like 3 times. I can't be that unlucky. And
so your way was chasing things. Yeah, that was your...
Yeah, I call it the disease of more, or the disease of when.
Yeah.
When I get the Ferrari, I'll be happy. When I get the Maserati, when I get the boat, when I go first class. Classic example, like, you know, when you're young, you fly economy, then you do all right. You fly business, and you're like, imagine if I flew business, it'd be amazing. You do that for a couple of years, and you're like, I'm sick of business first. Then you fly first, right? And then all of a sudden, but like, whatever you've got's never enough. And then I was flying first class all around the world, but a couple of my mates were flying private. Right. So I'm like, I'm still flying commercial. This is shit. I'm a peasant because I'm flying. Like, it never ends, mate.
Yeah, right? You can never have enough. You can just keep on chasing things if that's what you
chasing. But it all comes back to insecurity, self-esteem, fear, which masquerades as the ego. So we need these things to make ourselves feel better about ourselves. Nowadays, my car costs $3,000, including GST, the best. Right, mate, the finance on most of my cars cost more than that back in the day. Like monthly.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so, and I've never felt more successful or at peace in my life. But I got to a stage where I wanted more meaning. Like Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, very famous book. Everybody should read it if they haven't.
Absolutely
concentration camp. Right, he found meaning in a concentration camp. I find meaning out of contribution and service. When I was launching products and making all this dough, did they work? I don't know, maybe, who cares? Like when I was doing that, I never got that feeling, no matter how much money was in the bank account. And people think, well, if I could just travel around the world all the time and do nothing, it'd be amazing. Bullshit, you'll be depressed. We need purpose and meaning. I say that I've got a 3-step formula for success and happiness, right? And one of them is hobbies. You've got to have a hobby. Now, most people, if you've got 1,000 people in a room who's got a hobby, like no one, because everyone's so busy striving and they're obsessed and defined by their work. If you want to be better at your work, get a hobby. So I play a lot of golf and I ride horses. So I've got hobbies. So you're far more effective when you've got something outside of work. Because if you don't have something, you'll obsess and you won't have they call it equanimity. You won't have enough space. You won't have enough buffer between yourself and the problem, and you become the problem in the problem. So you got to have a hobby outside of work. The other thing you got to have is purpose. You got to have purpose in your work. Now, real estate, contrary to popular belief, is one of the best jobs to ever do that, because you can be the trusted advisor. You can be a source of knowledge. You can guide and navigate these people. You do that. It's the best. Hobbies, purpose. You have genuine purpose. It's not like you're launching some dodgy skin cream. Like, you guys are facilitating trade on the most bankable asset that people will ever have. Property, bricks and mortar. It's real. You do that. It gives you purpose. And what you do is cultivate long-term relationships through integrity and trust. So hobbies and purpose. And the third one's love. You've got to have people and animals, but people to give and receive love. Give and receive love. That's like the 3 things for me. And if people don't have them, it's an empty road, and more money does not fill it.
They'll always have that void if they don't have those things, right? And to fill the void, you come to alcohol, you come to more money, you come to another car, right?
Yep, mate. And I tell you, it's a slippery slope. And I think Jim Carrey said it, he said, I wish everybody could be rich, filthy rich and famous, so they realize that. One of my favorite
quotes.
Yeah, that's not the answer.
Yeah.
So, and everybody thinks it is, but I know a lot of very famous people who chased fame and they're miserable. If you become famous as a byproduct because you're awesome at what you do, then that's different. But if you're fame hungry, status hungry, that is misery.
Yeah. So
there's nothing in it.
Fame is called being social media famous, or being famous because to be on TV famous. As we watch things, like we trying to catch up with the fame, and fame would be, as you see it, if you keep on chasing that kind of stuff, you'll be miserable and you'll be trying to fill that void with drugs.
Remember, I'll tell you, when we did, so my big weight loss product was called Body Trim. We sold it in New Zealand as well. It was big in New Zealand, actually. And it was a weight loss information program, DVDs, and we had a lot of like protein bars and supplements and whatnot. Anyway, I remember thinking when we launched that, like, if I was on TV every day and that'd be the best and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, after all that happened, 3 months of doing sunrise every bloody morning, and I'm like, this is fuck, I'm sick of this. You think that's going to be the thing.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, you're like, this is shit, on board of this. Like, it's not. The thing is now.
Yeah.
Like we can't go into the future or into the past. All we can do is now. It's our relationship with where we are the present moment and our relationship with ourselves. And that is very exposing at the moment in the time of COVID, our relationship with self in the present moment. Most people can't sit in the present moment. They got too much head noise. That's why I used to drink. I would numb, escape, medicate the noise with cocaine and alcohol because the bang and away I go, right? But pretty sure that's not a long-term solution. Last time I looked. So it now, like the blessings I've got in my life, I can't even begin to tell you, but they all came out of a time when I thought life was over and I'd wrecked it and it was finished. And the only thing that kept me going were my two little dogs, William and Harry, and they really helped me find a peace and a serenity in where I was and the basic things. And from that, you know, out of small things, big things grow, but they grow organically. Most of the people that we read about in VRW Fast 100, mate, they're the fucked 100 a year later because they go boom, 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 fast up, fast down. It's got to be long term. So the basics, the basics, brick by brick, brick by brick. But a lot of people, the problem is if we've got a bit of addiction and OCD and nothing's enough, that's boring. But guess what? Success is boring. Basics repeated daily. That's the key.
Love, that's beautiful. Hey, Tony Robbins said this, as you said before, like, you know, we've got to live in the now. He said, one of my favorite quotes, he said, if you cannot find happiness in the now, you'll be in a miserable place someplace else.
Right. It's truth. It's truth. And I was always searching for that place. Always. And I could never find it. And you might be up the front of the plane. You might be in the Greek islands or wherever the hell you are. But guess what? You still got to take this with you. You still take your head and you get there, first class penthouse. And then, the bed's too hard. The pillows are too hard. The this, the that, the madness, the bullshit, the disease of more kicks in.
The next thing that you said, Geoff, you said gratitude.
Yeah.
You said being grateful. And I think that would be what would complete this whole thing. If you're grateful about today, obviously we all want to do well in life, and we all want to be able to have a purpose in life. We'll have to contribute, obviously. That's all we want. As Tony Robbins said, if you can't find happiness in now, you'll be miserable someplace else. Being grateful, you did say about that just briefly. Can you touch on that again?
Sure. So gratitude, like everybody's like hashtag gratitude and hashtag blessed, but no one feels it. They just say it because it's, some bullshit thing to say. I found gratitude, in Alcoholics Anonymous. Like I found it at rock bottom. Now, nowadays, I'll be with my horse and my dogs, like down the park. I take my little dogs to the park and we play with the ball. And I get so much peace and love and gratitude from that. My work time with my horse, my dogs, the simple basic things. Now, but the biggest thing for people to realize is that nobody cares what you have. They don't care. No one's sitting around the dinner table talking about your stuff. They don't care. If you can get that, it will change your life. And here's the thing. People say to me, I want to be respected. Why? That's your ego. Success is a byproduct. The more you want to be respected, you will never be respected. So it just happens by your actions. I say define yourself by your daily actions and your integrity, not your achievements. Actions, integrity, not achievements. You do that, you achieve more, but you don't care because that's not in the present moment. That's yesterday. Who cares? Come back. So gratitude, if you've got 10 clients, 10 people on your database, like that's awesome. 1,000, who cares? Like if you've got some people who trust you with their home, that's amazing. If you've got food on the table tonight, that's enough. But this is the paradox. When you get that, you'll have more than you could have ever imagined. It
Wow.
goes like this. You will have more success, financial, commercial, material success than you could have ever dreamed. But when you chase it, you won't get it.
You said that so beautifully, and I think we can conclude that in there, because I think you said that once you fulfilled, the success is just a byproduct that happens.
Absolutely. It happens, but it's counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's not obvious.
Yeah.
We think if we don't look successful, we won't. But no, that's fake.
Yeah.
I was saying this to a bloke today, and his posture. I had a client who went from had no time to do anything, but basically was getting no results, to going to the gym 3 days a week, getting a massage, time with the family, cooking dinner, and got 15 listings on the go month on month. It's a paradox.
Yeah. Yeah.
People pick up on it. It's a posture and a confidence, and it's real.
Yeah.
But we think we've got to fake it till we make it. Bullshit.
Yeah.
We've got to start where we stand. Start where you stand.
Amazing. I want to ask you one more question before I let you go, because I know you're busy. This is a mentor of mine said once. He said success is like water. If you're trying to hold on to it, clinch to it too hard, it just runs. You don't get it. So
here's the thing. If you are chasing, then the value of what you're offering goes way down.
Right.
And this is the thing with success and wealth and people. The more self-assured you are in your path and your values, then you just stay the course, and the right people come and the wrong people go, and you build a beautiful life.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to be up in lights and look at me. All of that dissolves.
Yeah.
All of that rubbish dissolves, and you just do what you do. And the irony is that you probably end up more in lights, but you don't want the lights. It's all a paradox.
Yeah.
The things that we thought we needed, we don't, but you get them as a byproduct.
I appreciate you. That's why I think we need to listen to people who has done things rather than modeling.
Yes.
And working out with an overweight personal trainer. You just don't.
That's right.
And there's so many of those out there. Tell me, what's your mission today? I know you touched on it before I let you go. I want to know what your mission today is, and how can you be so content? Just last two questions, and then we can let you go, Geoff.
Yeah, sure. It was funny. John McGrath's one of my best friends. You know John, and I speak to John, Charles Tarby, two of my best friends, and they actually asked me a similar question. And at the start of the year, GJ, you're back on your feet. What are the plans? Where to from here? And I said, mate, more of the same. And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, mate, perfect. I do my work. I help a few people. I ride my horse. I work my dogs. That's it. Back in the day, it'd be scale it up and do why. This is great. I love my life today. My mission is to be happy today. Everything flows through that. If we are resenting and resisting and fighting where we are, a lot of people, they hate the day to day, but they think I'll do it for 20 years and then I'll be good. You won't be good, because you'll be so bitter and twisted and miserable at the end of it that nothing will be good. That is common. So that's my thoughts on mission.
I appreciate that.
Happy today.
And obviously your happiness comes from that, you contribute, you make people's lives better. Like you said, I read that what you enjoy today is getting people out of the dark and bringing them into the light. And I thought that
and it's seeing people realize their abilities and potential and being able to play a part in that. I don't need to be up in lights. I'm happy in the shadows, but giving them the tools and the knowledge, equipping them with that. That's how you get the feeling that you matter. You don't matter when you're on the TV, some dickhead talking head. You matter when you are genuinely doing that and helping people realize their abilities in business and life. And that's when you get the feeling that you matter. So I do that. I love that. I get to do that every day. It's a beautiful thing. And, you know, with my little dogs, come here. Perfect timing. Come here. Like, you know, I got these two little dogs, William and Harry. You know, they were rescue dogs. This is Harry, and William's over there on the couch. Like, you know, rescuing animals that had had a bad start to life, and like nothing beats that.
That's
my
beautiful.
Horse, my dog, like that's what matters to me, not some bullshit Rolex on my arm or whatever. I don't care about that rubbish. I've been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. Like the animals, you know, that I say, like, you know, they saved my life, so I don't take theirs. That's why I eat tofu and all that sort of stuff, because they saved me. Like that's the magic. That's the millions there, the $1 million. That's, you know, my little dogs, looking at them. Like they're just different. It's a beautiful feeling of joy and peace, and the gratitude comes out of that, looking at them. But, you know, if I was listening to this at 30, I'd be like, this guy's on drugs, like he's kidding himself. But but then I went down that road above and beyond, and, you know, when we were turning over $41 million a year, I was the most unhappy.
Yeah,
because like it's just not what we think it is. Now, but if people get clear on this before they make lots of money, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit.
You enjoy this whole journey, as I call it, right? If you get yourself right and get what you discussed before, right? Once you get that right, then everything else, number one, fall in place. Number two, is more enjoyable than ever.
Absolutely. And then and you don't spend millions of dollars on shit you don't need. And you can do more good in the world. And that feeling of fulfillment, contribution, gratitude, it comes out of serving, not taking.
Wow. Comes out of serving, not taking. I love that. I'll wrap it up with that, Geoff. Thank you very much for your time, man. You're a great man. Keep up the good work.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. We will also put your details down the bottom. And
cheers.
If anybody, I'm sure you'll be amazing to help people.
Of course. Look forward to chatting again. All the best.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Geoff. Take care.
See you later. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bye.